This is Brad and Sean in the morning, but it's actually afternoon. And this is Release the Adventure, a podcast about adventuring, getting outside, and seeing what happens. But today, we're not here to be outside. We're actually here to stay indoors, thanks to Corona. This is Brad and Sean,
Hello.
and we're here to talk. So, first, I think we're going to break into who we are because I don't think any of you know us unless you're my mom, and then she knows us very well.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah,
Second Mom.
yeah, she'll be happy about that. But I guess I'll start. My name's Brad. Currently, I live in Wyoming. Yes, that's a real state. It's a real place. We have a lot of outdoors, a lot of things to do, a lot of hunting, a lot of mountain biking. Those are usually my two main go tos when it comes to my outdoorsy ness. I'm trying to get a boat so I can get out on the lake, start fishing a bit more. But other than that, I just like being outside, campfires, camping, that lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say it was like you can't forget about your big boating adventure coming up soon.
Man, I
So
cannot wait.
I still think it's funny that you're trying to sucker me into going halfway on a boat with you.
I wanted you to get in so bad, but now I have the money, so now I don't need that halfy half. I'll go full fledged. But sooner or
Yeah,
later,
full
what's gonna
fledged.
happen is you're gonna come and you're gonna get on this boat with me,
I
and you're
can
gonna
I
be
can chip in for gas when we get onto the lake.
and it's gonna be more than that because you're gonna be like, oh, I love this. We should
So
get this.
stoked.
We should get that. How about we get a wakeboarding bar? And I'll be like, Sean,
Ooh, now we're
you
talking.
you said you didn't want in.
See,
How
you
about you
didn't
buy
even
that
talk about
wakeboarding bar?
wakeboarding beforehand.
It's part of the
You
boat, bro.
you suddenly have my attention with wakeboarding.
That is one thing that I'd like to learn how. I've never tried. Well, I guess I've tried once, but it was with a like 1980s boat, and I'm like
Hmm.
230, so it trying to pull me out of the water was not successful.
Yeah, a little difficult there.
Yeah.
Um, well, my name is Sean. I live in Colorado. Brad also used to live in Colorado. Well, he's from Colorado, but he recently just moved to Wyoming, so he's definitely 100% Colorado at heart still. I
Oh
would say
yeah, Coloradans.
for sure. Best state in the country, in my humble opinion. But
Whoop, whoop.
there's a lot of other fine places around this country. Yeah, I mean, for me, um, I would say my number one activity would be mountain biking. Getting the stoke on, trying not to kill myself on my, I'm gonna say, custom built bike.
Custom
Totally cool.
hardtail.
Yeah, custom hardtail, super cool. Uh, maybe in another tax return or two, maybe I can get on that full squish life. That'd be cool. But we'll see. Other than that, always enjoy going camping, hiking. It would be super sweet to get into wakeboarding. I'm all of a sudden getting very excited about that.
Whoop whoop.
And my wife and I, we also do some rock hounding on the side. Um, for those of you that are into that, I'm sure you're pretty stoked to hear that. And we also tumble and polish our own rocks with that, so that's also pretty fun. Something that Brad and I are also into that's a little out of the box, but something that we both enjoy is kite flying. That's right,
Ooh.
kite flying. There is a fun adult way
Oh.
to kite fly.
Sean, I totally forgot about kites.
I
That
know.
was
it's
that's it's
it's
one of
it's
those
easy to
things.
forget the stoke of kites.
When the wind is good and the kites are good, the lines are good, nothing's broken. That is probably
Yeah.
one of the most fun you can have
Oh yeah.
for
Yeah.
adults. I will say that this is definitely a adult activity. Two lined
Yeah.
kites, um, and I bet most of you are thinking to yourselves, "No, no, adults don't fly kites." Well, how about you look it up?
Yeah. It gets intense really quickly because when Brad first introduced me to kite flying, I had the same thing. I was like, kite flying, really though? What is this? What is this? Is this second grade? Come on now. And then he breaks out this massive 2.5 meter kite. It's bigger than like a 6 foot wingspan, right? And we're out there, and I'm trying to fly it for the first time, and this thing is pulling me. I'm not flying the kite; it's pulling me, right? And I'm
Poor
almost
dirt.
eating dirt, almost getting pushed down into the ground, just getting thrown all over the place. And I was like, holy, this is on a whole nother level.
Absolutely. And that's not even the biggest commercial kites that are sold.
No,
Just
definitely
to
not.
because the company that I usually go through um, has one that's up to 5 meters, and that's just
Hmm.
for household use. If you want to get into sport
Like
kiting
recreational stuff.
and then getting into actually getting on the ocean and doing kiteboarding, you're looking at almost 30 feet long weed spans
Yeah.
for a
I
kite.
think the ones Right. I think the ones that are for the ocean go up to like 12 meters I've seen. It's pretty
Yeah,
ludicrous.
man.
And those you that are have access to the beach, you may have seen this. You may have seen people literally flying in the air on a kite over the ocean doing flips and stuff. It's absolutely crazy. And also you can also get those little like sand buggies and
Yep.
drive this little sand buggy with a kite. It's so cool.
Yeah, for sure. Man, how did I forget about kites?
Yeah, I don't.
What?
I mean, we have been stuck inside, and all of our. Well, I don't know about all your kites, but both of my kites, all of their lines are broken. So that's a sad day.
Yeah, I think right now I only have two or three kites that are up and running. So, yeah, yeah, I'm on
Mm-hmm.
that train. I think I've been focused mostly for all you out there. I bought a house in November. Um, so, for all of you that have owned houses, you know that it takes all your time, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter when you think your projects are done, it's not done because your significant other or somebody else will be like, it'd be cool if you did this. And then you go, oh,
Right.
I don't really want to. And then it festers. And then 2 weeks later,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I'll build a new workbench.
The workbench sounds like a good idea, and I
Yeah.
think the garage could use some shelving. Now that I
Yeah.
think about it, we could use a new barbecue pit in the backyard.
Right there. And then the train just goes. And then before you know it, you've built a new pavilion. You've built
Hmm.
a new swimming pool in the backyard.
Oh wow.
But you got to have
In
one for your
Wyoming, huh?
and one for your dogs.
A dog pool. That's pretty exciting.
Well, you have to have dog pools. Always. I have two dogs,
Have you
by
ever
the
seen
way.
those
Oh,
Have you ever seen those dogs uh ball catching competitions where they jump
yes.
into the pool?
I
Those are pretty
want.
intense.
And so I have two dogs, Sirius and Opal. Opal is a husky golden retriever, and Sirius is some kind of um, herding breed. We think blue heeler, maybe border
He looks
collie.
like a blue heeler.
We don't know. He's super mutt, but super fast, and he's the one I want
Hmm.
to train how to do that
That'd be cool.
because I think he
Yeah,
can
some of
just
those
launch
some of those dogs can jump
30 or 40
like
feet.
20 like 20 to 40 feet. It's pretty ridiculous.
Oh, I was looking at that. Was it 2 weeks ago? I have a friend that I work with. That her dogs do agility, and
Hmm.
I was like, well, that's kind of cool. The timed runs and that type of thing. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
interesting. And she goes, they also can jump into a pool. And I was like,
Oh.
okay, cool. And then she was like, no, 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 watch. Her
Yeah.
little miniature border collies jump like
Mhm.
25 feet.
Holy, a little mini border collie.
Yeah, and I
How
was
much does
like,
that dog weigh? Maybe like 20 pounds
if that.
for a mini? Yeah.
If that. Little
Because
tiny
they're like
dog.
pushing in. Yeah, they're pushing into like toy breed territory when they're the mini variety.
Exactly. And I was like, there's no way. And so she showed me a video and it just coasted. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, now I know what I want to do with my dogs.
Right. It's like, oh man, now you got the next thing that I gotta do and train them, and I love it, but there's just so many things to do.
And I can't just go always use somebody else's pool. I got to build my own.
Right. And you got to build the dog run in the back eventually, and
Oh yeah, that too. That's another project that needs to get done sooner than later. But
yeah. As a passive observer to your ever expanding list of things on your house, it's a lot, and I can feel the anxiety just from a distance
for
of what
sure.
it takes.
So what I always like to do is make sure that I do things that are focused on making money. So taking care of the house, putting
Mm-hmm.
in new floors, putting in new garages, stuff like that to try to up that
Yeah,
equity. But I
sure.
always make sure that I'm going out to ride my bike. This boat project's going to be a project, but once it starts to get better weather, oh boy, am I going to be out on that lake every weekend.
As long as the boat doesn't have holes in it, I think you're gonna be good.
I think the only thing I'm worried about right now on the boat that I'm buying is that it hasn't been in the water for almost 3 years.
Mm.
So mostly worried about the um, engine, and then
Did it
possibly some fiberglass issues. But
right? My first concern when you said that was with it sitting out. Was it sitting out in the heat of the sun or uncovered or?
oh yes, it was. So
Ooh, that's
all the
that worries
seats are
me
going to
about.
have to be replaced.
Yeah, that's
But
some definite sun damage there, and just it living in Wyoming, just being in the more of a harsher climate than say California.
yeah, exactly. So we'll see how it officially looks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's only a grand. So
That's not bad.
yeah, I got lucky. My friend's just trying to get it out of their driveway, and I was like, I'll take it.
Right.
Absolutely. If anything,
Sure.
do about a grand worth of repairs and then sell it for three or four. But
Nice.
hopefully not, because I'd rather keep it. Because
Right.
I've never owned a boat.
You're right. And you could hook up a hitch to the new Toyota Corolla, right?
But would it work? I don't know.
For a small enough boat, maybe. Would
Oh,
it be
it's not a
great?
small boat.
No. Oh,
It's
it's
not a
not small.
small
Uh
boat.
oh.
Yeah,
See,
so at least we have the Pathfinder. So
oh,
at least
that's
have
true. I always
the
forget about the
Nissan,
Pathfinder.
the Nissan,
Yeah,
to be able
Nissan.
to pull it, which is good. I won't be able to pull it far, but luckily, being in
Mm.
Wyoming, there's lakes within an hour,
Yeah,
and
right. I
then
was gonna say just to the lake and back. That's okay. If you're going up to Yellowstone, though, that's a different story.
yeah, that would be a little bit of a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
So
Sean, I think it might be that time to talk about that
yeah,
sweet, sweet COVID-19.
yeah, for sure. So, uh, just so we're all clear in how fast everything is changing, as I'm sure everyone knows, we're recording this on Sunday, March 29th. So our information is up to date as of now, but who knows? So please, as you're listening to this, if this is a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it may be, hopefully we all get out of this and we can go back to normal life here as quickly as possible. But we're going to go over all the information for the different states right now that have stay at home orders and kind of what that means for someone who lives an outdoor lifestyle and who likes to stay active and what is and isn't allowed.
For sure.
So
And putting a
what are
little bit
your
of a,
kind of general
I'm going to
oh
put a
sorry.
caveat on it as well. We're not doctors. So
Right, yeah.
we're not here to talk medicine. We're not here
No.
to tell you how to stay safe. The
Correct.
CDC and the World Health Organization, follow them.
Mhm.
They're the people that have double doctorates and craziness that they've spent their entire lives on this. So
Right.
trust them. We are just two citizens that like to be outside.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So
definitely for the CDC and WHO, these guys are the true heroes here. And if you know someone in your community that is a nurse, a EMT, just any kind of doctor, please give them their due appreciation during this time. They're putting in crazy amounts of hours, and they're the real heroes. They might not wear capes, but they are doing. So many great things right now, and they deserve all the respect for that. And yeah.
For sure. I completely agree. Um, but where I'm at on this is I'm just bummed because I
Mm-hmm.
like going out and going for drives or going fishing just to be outside, or even just go
Mm-hmm.
to a park and watch the dogs lose their stuff for an hour.
Right.
Um, for me, it's been hard because I'm teleworking, so I don't even get my drive to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
I just am home all the time.
How else are you supposed to listen to podcasts while you're
Exactly.
teleworking, right? You gotta
It's
gotta
like,
get the commute podcast in.
so I got to get up a little early just to listen to my podcast.
The
And it's a
struggle's real.
struggle. It's a
Yeah.
struggle. And I
Some
know
some
this is first
definite
world
first world
problems.
problems there. Yeah.
First world problems. I'm glad we're both on that same train because it is a first world problem to go, well, I don't get to spend money to drive to work today. But
Exactly.
I hope that all you guys who are in those lower income areas are coping well and are doing well. Because I am lucky enough that I live way out in the middle of nowhere. I don't have a lot of people around, and I live in a city, but it's very small with about 30 or 40,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not super affected, other than we've been given direction to stay home
Mm-hmm.
and not go outside. So I've been doing my best to um, cook as much meals as I can on the barbecue, go
Good idea.
outside and light my little fire pit that I have and cook stuff over a fire, mostly to try to cancel that monotony and try to get
Right.
myself not losing my mind
Mm-hmm.
over just staying home and eating the same old food and feeling like I'm stuck. When really all we're doing is waiting for this curve to hopefully flatten out a little bit and be able to get us in a place where we're able to cope with um, all the stuff going on better than our predecessors, Italy, China, be able to handle things of that sort.
Yeah. To add on to that, the unfortunate news is, as for confirmed cases, there's a lot of countries and states and places throughout the world that don't have the ability or the resources to properly test everyone that's showing signs. As we know, hospitals are pretty overloaded right now, but the United States has become the number one most confirmed cases in the world, which is um,
And
sad
actually,
and disappointing and kind of scary.
as of right now, we're at 103,000 cases with
And those are confirmed cases, just so
confirmed
we're all
cases.
right.
Yes, that is tested, and you have the COVID-19. Um,
Right.
and right now, sadly, we're at 1,668 deaths. Hopefully,
Yeah.
that doesn't rise too much.
Yeah.
And I just want to put that as a comparison to Italy, which they were hit earlier than we were. They're at 92,000 confirmed cases with just over 10,000 deaths.
Right. Yeah. And with China, I don't want to get too political, but I feel like they're not properly testing or not properly recording confirmed cases. So I would anticipate that their numbers are much higher than what they're actually saying. But nonetheless, it's still a very serious problem throughout the entire world, for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree with that for sure.
But yeah, I mean, in Colorado, in my neck of the woods, it's become a little bit more serious here than Wyoming. Um, we are over 1,000. Yesterday it was like 1,400, and it's been averaging about a 1.4 like day over day growth rate. So it's probably close to like 1.8, 1.9 today. So it's been interesting. People here are taking it pretty seriously. We have stay at home orders, and it's punishable by a potential misdemeanor and a heavy fine. However, as of right now, it sounds like the sheriffs, at least in my county, They're prioritizing on educating people that are out and about and not out there for um, accepted reasons and pri- priority reasons that need to be done. So that's good that the law enforcement is trying to educate rather than put more hardship on people when it's already a hard time for
For
so
sure,
so many
for
people.
sure. Because
And
their job's
that's
not easy right now either.
no,
Because I
definitely not.
couldn't even imagine having to, I guess, speculate whether someone's doing the right thing when it's not
Yeah.
even not something that's
Hmm.
violent or dangerous, just something that's a possible issue for the entire like population.
Right. It's a ton of discretion, and they're trying to look into secondary and tertiary effects of people's actions. It's just like, sure, you might be just going out and trying to have a good time, but what does that mean for the other people around you? And what happens if those people get sick? And what happens to the people that are around them? And so they're trying to
Exactly.
delve a little bit deeper and think how to best help the most amount of people. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's a lot of hardship. There's still kind of the great toilet paper crisis that everyone likes to meme
Oh
about. People are
my.
still,
Ooh.
yeah,
I
people are still pretty
still
crazy about that.
going on the toilet paper for a second. I'm sorry. I'm going to go down this rabbit hole.
That's okay.
I'm a prepper. I will self define myself as someone who's prepared for things of this sort. Um, I have about 3 months worth of food for me and my family, and enough water and everything of that sort. But that also includes having enough toilet paper. I have a total for my extra toilet paper 12 rolls.
Hmm.
So those people going out there and buying hundreds of rolls.
Like pallets worth, multiple pallets worth, if not an entire store's worth.
Are you kidding me? There's no reason.
Yeah, it's
Okay, in 3 months, I run out of toilet paper. Well, in the 1900s, they didn't have toilet paper either.
right.
They got along. Yes, hygiene wasn't as high as it is now, but you'll find a way.
Right.
Everybody finds a way. And the thing is, we need to be looking at not why we're buying toilet paper, but who we're taking the toilet paper away from.
Hmm.
Is if this disease has shown that it hurts the older population more, then go buy all that toilet paper and then deliver it to everyone that's over 60. Take your ability and privilege as a younger, healthy person to help those in need. Because the US was built on helping, which,
Hmm.
with all this toilet paper issues and debacle, just seems like we're not trying to help. We're just trying to self preserve. When
Yeah.
I feel personally that if we try to self preserve, we're going to burn real quick.
Hmm.
And there goes all that toilet paper that you saved. I don't know. What are you going to do? Throw it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not something that I was prepared for was to walk into a grocery store on a Friday morning to go buy my regular week's worth of butt wipe and find nothing.
Right.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. To add on to what you were saying about the elderly folks, um, in Colorado, they're adding most grocery stores are starting elderly only hours, and usually that's either the first
Ooh,
hour of opening or like an hour before opening of regular opening. And so I thought that was a really positive development. And obviously, if you have a older uh, grandparent, uh, mom or dad, and they're in a much more vulnerable position to go outside, it might be against your normal routine, but try to look out for them. Take a little bit of an extra step in seeing how they're doing, and even just checking in on them. They might not need extra help. They might be prepared, but just checking in on them and seeing how they're doing, I'm sure they would appreciate the call and appreciate you looking out for them.
absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. Um, Something that's also been interesting with the toilet paper thing is every time I go down the paper aisle, there's still paper towels and there's still Kleenex every single time. So every time I see them, I'm just like, well, this isn't. People are just panic buying. Maybe
Hmm.
panic is a little bit too strong of a word, but people are just impulse buying, and they're not really thinking about it. And so, when obviously my experience is going to be different from everyone else's experience, but for all the stores in town I've seen, it's always just like, oh, well, I can easily find Kleenex and I can find toilet paper, or not toilet paper, excuse me, paper towels. So it's like, well, clearly there's some priority on some things that shouldn't be a priority, and there isn't a priority on other things, including a lot of food that's still
Yeah.
there, and you think that would go fast.
And I went to Sam's Club the other day. I went about 4 days after the big freak out, and then I went last week just to kind of give a look. People are buying
Mm-hmm,
some of the right things, rice, beans, that type of thing.
mm-hmm, right.
Um, but then I went to the canned aisle with that has the big cans of food for if you're
Mm-hmm.
catering or doing big meals and that type of thing, untouched,
Wow.
which I was super
Interesting.
confused by because their shelf life is about 2 years.
Yeah,
If we're buying
for
for
sure.
right now to fix the issue of right now, then that's what we should be buying.
Right.
We don't you don't need 50 pounds of rice
Right.
unless you're
Yeah,
going to
it's
eat it.
for sure. It's one of those things where we should be looking about buying a supply for 2 weeks so that you don't have to go to the grocery store and risk getting it yourself and potentially spreading it to others when you go back to work and stuff. It's not about like this doomsday scenario. It's about flattening the curve and reducing the spread so that we don't overwhelm the hospital systems and so that they can keep on top of that, get people healthy again. People can eventually develop a natural resistance to it, and then we can keep going forward. And as COVID potentially, it may or may not, but as it mutates like similar flu-like symptoms every single year, we'll eventually develop more of a natural e- immunity to it. So
Exactly.
it's all about the flattening of the curve, which is super huge.
For sure.
Um, so let's how about we get into some of these states that have these stay-at-home orders and what this means to all of our adventuring and outdoorsy people.
Yes, for sure.
So right now there are 20 different or 21 different states um, that have stay-at-home orders, and more or less the state governments, the governors are kind of all bouncing ideas off of each other. It seems like for the states that have these stay-at-home orders. But just in case you didn't know, and if you live in one of these states and you didn't know what was going on, these states are California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Vermont, West Virginia, Washington, and Wisconsin. So
Yep, yep,
a good chunk there, and a interesting diversity of kind of Midwest states, West states, East states. In even Hawaii right now, is having the stay at home orders, and
for sure.
um,
And
there's
what
kind of a
interests me the
false.
most, if we just look at it in general, just looking at the states, is it's not just about population.
No, definitely not.
So it'll be interesting how it goes from here.
Hmm. Yeah, so most of the states, um, what we were kind of looking for in our research was if public spaces are open, such as city parks, municipal parks, um, hiking trails that aren't part of a park or a state parks, and that kind of thing. And if hiking and biking is allowed, and what other interesting tidbits that we could pick up. So almost every single state allows public spaces to be open. Um, there's a few standouts in that difference is most places, I would just to say a fair assumption is playgrounds, all the playgrounds are closed right now. So if you have children, it's not a good idea to be taking your kids to the playground right now, and it could potentially be against your your city and your state's state orders. Most places are doing that for playgrounds. However, if it's just like a city park, that's kind of okay. And again, we're doing the social distancing, and that's a minimum. I want to emphasize minimum of 6 feet, keeping away from each other. So the only standouts where public spaces aren't allowed is Colorado, no city parks, and some state parks are already closed in Colorado, and most likely all the state parks will soon to be closed. Illinois state parks are closed. However, their local parks are open, the municipal ones. New Mexico, their state parks are also all closed, but the municipal city parks are open. Oregon, I'm sorry, but you guys, it's just all closed down. According to our research, is their municipal parks, state parks, playgrounds, it's all closed. So that's the biggest standout is Oregon is very restrictive right now because they're kind of in an interesting geographical location between two of the biggest hotspots of California and Washington. So they're taking this rightfully very seriously, and they're kind of trying to get ahead of this before it gets too crazy. Um, Another two were Washington. The state parks are closed and their campsites are closed. Um, didn't say anything about city parks, so I would check with your local jurisdictions, but it sounds like there's a good chance that the city parks are open. And the oddball in all this research when I was doing this is Wisconsin just has no clue what's going on. They're trying to do the right thing. It's so weird. Just even finding the governor's executive order, it took some digging. Like every other
Hmm.
state, it was very straightforward and obvious, but Wisconsin was just like, well, our governor made a tweet, and so it's like, okay, so that was a news article from like the Washington, one of the biggest like Washington newspapers. It's like, well, our governor tweeted about it, so I go to the tweet, and it's just like the governor saying, well, COVID-19 is bad, stay at home, and it's just like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense, obviously, but where's the
Where's your
governor
order?
executive, where's your order, and so even looking through that order, we have a table for you guys that you guys can look at and the show notes with direct links to all the different government websites. So this is directly coming from the the mouth of the governors. Essentially, this isn't some weird third party news source. This is coming directly from the governors that for all of our sources that we have. You guys can look at that if you want to, but Wisconsin, they're trying to do the right thing. However, they really haven't set any clear um, restrictions. So just if you're in Wisconsin, just be safe, be smart. Listen to the CDC and WHO is basically what I got to say to
For sure.
that. Every state in this list, hiking and biking is allowed, so that's super great. So you can still go get your exercise. And so if you're a mountain biker like us, the stoke is still on. So
Stoked.
I'm pretty stoked about that.
And especially when
It's
it's starting to get warmer now. Um,
for sure.
get out there. Don't go stir crazy by staying locked up. If you have the ability to go out, if you have a bike, if you have the ability to go rent one, get out there and do it. Get outside, get at least a little bit of fresh air with hiking. If you can get on a bike, we always recommend go mountain biking. It's the way of
Yeah,
life.
for sure. Yeah, and also just with that for mountain bikers, this is for me at least, it's a pretty ingrained thing. But for those of you who don't know, there's kind of the a rule of order and how yielding to one another goes. And so if you were to make like an imaginary triangle and put the three different types of people in the 3 points, is horseback riders, hikers and trail runners, and then mountain bikers. Mountain bikers yield to everybody, right? So
Yep.
mountain bikers, you
Everybody.
guys already know this. Just always yield, always get out of the way, maintaining a minimum of at least 6 feet if you can. Obviously, with mountain biking and trails, it gets a little tight at times. Just try to respect each other's space as much as physically possible when you're out on the trail. And horseback riders, obviously they yield to pedestrians, or they're supposed to. It seems like most of the time with horsebacks they kind of get the right of way, just because people are so infatuated with horses. Which, why wouldn't you be infatuated with horses, right?
That's
They're
for
pretty
sure
great.
too. Yeah, absolutely.
And hikers, they kind of get a bad rap because they tend to take over the trail, and because they get that right away from everybody, or they're supposed to get that right away from everybody, sometimes they don't respect that space. So if you're an avid hiker, um, you know just be extra diligent and do your part in getting out of the way too. um,
Absolutely.
so
And
yeah, so hike. Oh, sorry.
oh no, you're good. Remember what the CDC's been saying. No groups above 10.
Yep.
I would say no groups above 3. Just do what you
Yeah.
can to try to mitigate the um, issues that are happening and take your amount of responsibility of, okay, take your whole family out. Perfect. But stay with your family unit. Don't invite friends. Um, just try your best not to introduce more germs into your situation.
Right. Yeah. Going along with it, I think that's a pretty fair recommendation of the tops of three. Just the people in your house, I would say, more or less the people that you're already sharing a domicile with, whether that be your spouse, your significant other, roommates. I mean, you're already pretty much always in close proximity to them and bringing in germs from the outside world. So yeah, like right now, I would have loved to go up to Wyoming to go visit you,
Yeah,
but it's just not a smart idea
for
right now
sure.
at this moment. In addition to that, just not being a good idea, I could also get a misdemeanor for crossing the state border if a state patrolman saw me, and
Exactly.
he randomly pulled me over. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just be cognizant of that. Um, some other interesting like side notes for this stuff is in California, in a lot of these trails in state parks, they're limiting vehicular access to just try to limit the amount of
Hmm.
people that are going to these parks. So if
Interesting.
you're in California, I know there are some places in Colorado that do this, but look to see if there's a possible reservation that you can get, to just guarantee your spot if you and your spouse or just yourself are looking to get outside, go on a hike or whatever it may be for a little bit. Try to do your due diligence ahead of time instead of being having to drive an hour and a half or whatever it may to whatever trail that you're going to and having to get turned around.
For
Would be
sure.
pretty sad.
And definitely reach out to your local authorities. Um, all your national parks. Um,
Yeah.
I'm guessing right now, if it's they're not closed, you can
Mhm.
reach out, give them a phone call, ask how busy they are, ask what um, their individual things are going. Because I'm guessing
Right.
even here in Wyoming, Kurt Gowdy is going to have different regulations than Horsetooth in Colorado.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just go online and Google um, those local ranger stations, and a lot of ranger stations even have Twitter accounts and Facebook pages, so you can also look up those pages that might be more active than their actual like government website.
For sure.
And obviously, a phone call is always a surefire way of getting the most up to date information locally.
Yeah.
Um, so a few other interesting ones. Delaware, you can go outside and do all those fun things that we're talking about, except no beaches. You can't go swimming, except for running on the beach and like walking the dog, essentially. No,
Okay.
no surfing, no swimming, no boogie boarding, all of that stuff. And I would say, unfortunately, no kite flying as well.
Yeah.
So
just is I think when we look at all these different things between like Vermont says exercise is okay. They want you to get outside. They want you to go out and do things.
Right.
Same with
Hmm.
Wisconsin's funky. Let's skip them. Who knows what they're actually wanting us to do?
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but Minnesota encouraged to stay active. They're attempting, and Louisiana as well. They're still trying to get us outside,
Hmm.
but they're just asking us to do our part.
Yeah. Yeah. Most places are saying, like Brad's saying, exercise is fine. Just keep your distance. Just be smart. Just be smart. Be healthy. Be cognizant of the the people around you. Um, the only other thing is like Hawaii. It is okay to go surfing and swimming, which would make sense for Hawaii.
I think it
So
would
that's
be
pretty
hard
cool.
to tell them not to.
Yeah, I think that would be really hard. That would be like, I don't know if you heard the story, but in Denver, the mayor of Denver attempted to close all of the liquor and pot shop stores, and
Yep.
that's when the panic happened.
You
That's
cannot.
when the real
Do not take
yeah,
away our weed. Do not take away my beer.
right,
Don't do
exactly.
it.
And that's when the panic happened, and the mayor had to reverse course and just say, you know what, never mind. You guys can keep buying beer, keep keep buying pot. So,
And for
uh,
those not from Colorado, you've all heard we've legalized weed back in 2012, um,
mhm.
but it is a big part of our culture
Can you believe
down
that
in
it's been
Colorado.
8 years?
8 years, man, don't talk like that because that just makes me feel really old, really quick. Because I
I
voted
know.
on that.
I know. I did as well.
So, oh man, that's crazy. And
It was Amendment 64, right? Was the original?
yes, it was
Yeah.
64, baby. Man, what a day that was, too.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was interesting. I
but
just want to. I've said this to you already, but I ate some serious crow on that one because at that stage in my life I was very straight edge, and
oh,
I was like, oh man, the world.
th-
If Colorado legalizes weed, people are gonna be out smoking and intoxicated all the time, and boy, I couldn't be more wrong on that. It's been such a great blessing to have that legalized, and it's been a huge boon for the state, and it's
absolutely,
actually reduced the amount of smokers and reduced the amount of teens that are smoking. So overall,
exactly,
it's over every single thing you can look at. Pretty much, it's been an extreme positive to the state.
for sure. And
Um,
Colorado also has one of the highest amount of microbrews in the world,
yeah, for
which
sure.
just shows that we like beer,
Yeah,
all
for
kinds
sure.
of beer.
Yeah,
So I could imagine there being lots of freaking out when someone was like, "Hey, close your liquor store, close your brewery." That's a no, sir.
yep.
I'm not going to yell at you and tell you no, but I'm going to stand here cuz I'm not
Yeah,
leaving.
right. I can only imagine in like Hawaii, the governor telling them, like, yeah, no, you can't go swimming, you can't go surfing.
Oh,
I
you
just
can't
imagine people just,
tell me what?
tell
Say
me
it
what?
again. Say it
I
again.
can't go surfing. I'm gonna catch that swell now.
I'm putting you in the water.
Exactly. But yeah, this kind of leads us to where do we go from here? What's what's the next steps, and when are these things going to end?
For
So
sure.
again, just to reemphasize, you're more than welcome to go into the show notes and look at um, this Google Sheets, this table for yourself. But basically, to overly summarize, to not go through every single state and what their deadlines are, I'm gonna say if things don't get if we don't hear more news by the third to the fourth week of April, um, that's when things should change. If you, for the better or continuing to extend these stay-at-home orders. So it's kind of we're in a holding pattern right now of the social distancing and the stay-at-home. Um, so it's kind of look between like April 15th and April 30th. I would say just generally, if you're living in one of these states that have stay-at-home order again, um, please go ahead and look at when the exact end date for this is. And obviously, these are all could potentially change. So it's just kind of a wait and see at this moment. Stay safe and kind of see where it goes as far as that is regarded.
For sure. And also take what we've learned from this. Wash your hands more.
Yeah.
If you see somebody coughing, cover your face.
Right.
Encourage them to cough into their elbow
Mm-hmm.
or to cough in their hands and go wash their hands.
Right.
Use this as an opportunity to learn more about personal hygiene.
Yeah. For sure. It to kind of delve a little bit into the washing hands part. It seems kind of like an oversimplified thing and just something to maybe not take as seriously because it's kind of an oversimplified suggestion. But the reason why washing your hands is so effective is because when you put soap on your hands and let's say there is a virus or more specifically COVID-19, there's this fatty layer around the virus itself that protects it, and the soap just disintegrates that fatty layer, and so it pretty much immediately just kills off the virus. And I'm not a doctor, so take that with a grain of salt. You can look up videos on YouTube that kind of explain things better than I do, and obviously go to the CDC and WHO for more information. But it's pretty interesting how effective that is.
Huh. I've never heard that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. If you're interested, on YouTube, some of you may watch this channel. What is called Kurzgestat, in a nutshell. So you can just type in a nutshell on YouTube and type in COVID-19 or coronavirus, and they give really good in-depth explanations. And it's also a pretty entertaining thing if you're nerds like us and wanna just delve deep into things and just learn all about everything that you can. And it's only about a 10-minute video as well, so it's also um, a good paced thing.
Awesome.
So Brad, what's kind of your hopes and your plans coming out of this? Hopefully as
Um,
soon as possible.
so being in Wyoming, we're not at a stay in a home, so I'm hoping we don't have that happen.
Yeah.
Um, and my biggest thing is we're getting into boating season. We're about to
Mm-hmm.
get the boat. I really want to get out on the lake, and I know that if that happens, that's going to shut me down. Um,
Right.
but at least what I'm hoping for is that by mid-April, end of April, things start to settle in the
Mm-hmm.
sense of our hospitals aren't too packed. The cases have stopped coming, so that when we do reopen up and we go back to our normal lives, those cases don't dramatically rise, but it more stays a flat curve. Um,
Mm-hmm.
to where we're still going to get more cases. There's no doubt in that because we can't kill the virus by staying away, but we can at least slow down the infect rate.
Yeah.
So hopefully, in my mind, that we'll slow it down enough that it'll be slow enough that it becomes almost like the flu,
Yeah.
where
That'd be best.
now that and the flu's not safe either. Just if you look at
No.
fatality rates, it's not good either. We need to
Yeah.
be better about hygiene and taking care of ourselves. But I would rather it be something that we know that we have the possibility of getting every
Mm-hmm.
year, like almost like a flu season, but a COVID season type
Yeah.
or COVID-19 season,
Mm-hmm.
rather than that this scares me more for the sense of um, what is happening in Italy, that
Mm-hmm.
of where their hospitals are so full they can't
Yeah.
see any more people.
Mm-hmm.
That scares me
That's.
here because we don't have a very big infrastructure where we're at. We're we don't
Mm-hmm.
I have one hospital for 40,000 people.
Right.
If 20,000 of us, even probably 10,000 of us got it, that's a big number to try to
Right.
house if we're having severe symptoms, which hopefully out of those people who get it, there's not severe symptoms. Um, but just hopefully doing all these precautions and stay at homes and teleworking has the ability to slow this down enough that those sweet, sweet guys with the or women with the double PhDs and the craziness can
Right.
find a way to solve this issue to maybe have a vaccine
Yeah.
or at least have something to mitigate the I guess mitigate the scary factor, if that makes sense.
Just the infection rate and try to make it more of a preventative medicine rather than a fix, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What
To
about you?
bounce off of to bounce off your a couple of what you ideas of what you said, like with hospitals, it's not like hospitals have a 1-to-1 bed ratio for um, citizens in a town. To use your city as an example, as a small hospital, how many beds do you think it has? Maybe 200, 300, maybe even less than that.
I would say 350 tops if I was being super nice.
Yeah. So it's not even just like it's not even like half the city. It's like if 1% of the city gets this in addition to all the other stuff, it's that the doctors and the nurses can't keep up with all the other stuff in addition to this because these people have to be put onto respirators and be quarantined for like upwards of 2 weeks. So it very quickly overwhelms the hospital. Um, so it's interesting for sure. Um, and as for me, what I'm hoping is Colorado has been quickly growing in kind of the confirmed cases, and so we're doing a lot of really good things to um, slow the infection and try to flatten the curve. So I'm happy about our governor doing as much as he can. It seems like, and also the local municipal orders trying to respect those orders and also trying to kind of more tailor what those orders mean to the local communities. I appreciate that, and just going from here, I just hope that the population at large gets more educated and learns from this experience about not freaking out and learning when you buy pallets worth of stuff. Number one, you're not going to be able to sell this on eBay or something like that. No, the government, the feds will find you and they will crack down on that. There's been stories that come out about people trying to price gouge people,
Yep.
and it has not gone well for them. They're getting hit with the book, basically the book of law, and so yeah, that's not going to work out for those people that are trying to do that. And just also being cognizant and respectful of who you're taking those supplies away from. When you're buying all the baby food in the aisle, who else are you taking away from? When you're buying all this other, the toilet paper and the food and stuff like that, how are you affecting the elderly people that only have Social Security? And
Yeah,
so I'm hoping
exactly.
this is a learning experience for the population and for a lot of um, the major media branches. I think local media, local news networks have done a better job, but the large national uh, media corporations, I feel, could have done a better job at trying to educate the populace about what to do and what
Exactly.
not to do. Um,
Over the fear factor.
right. Yeah,
Because that
definitely.
seems to be what they've done is they throw the fear out there that the pandemic's coming.
Right.
Well, yes, it is a pandemic, but it's a pandemic that can be solved on an individual basis.
Hmm. Yeah,
But instead
we
of
all have a
sharing
part.
that, they wanted to blow it up and make it sound super gnarly and scary.
Yeah, it was
Well,
definitely sensationalized to a certain extent. It has been sensationalized about trying to drive people's views to their stations. Just like, yes, this is extremely serious, and yes, this can be extremely fatal to certain people. But it's
hmm,
also the media has a responsibility about educating and um, keeping the peace, so to speak.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, And on a adventure level, I'm just super excited to get back into mountain biking. I was looking on Twitter recently. Valmont Bike Park opened for like a day, and then they had to close again because it rained yesterday. So again, the trails are trashed from the rain. Hopefully if it stays nice during the week, maybe this next weekend go out and get some riding in either at Laurie State Park or at Valmont Bike Park. But yeah, I'm really excited. I've been out of the saddle for way too long. Kind of took a little bit of a break last year while you were gone, and so I'm definitely rusty. Super excited to get back into it, and just really excited to get better in shape. Kind of um, get back into my strength training regiment that I was doing at the gym because as we know all the gyms are closed right now, so I'm excited to
Yep.
get back into muscle training. And yeah, I'm excited to hopefully soon get onto your boat. That sounds pretty sweet. And I want to fix my kites and want to go rock hounding with my wife. We have a trip planned to go to Mount Antero, um,
Where is
in the
that?
high it's in the high country. It's kind of in between
Oh,
like Leadville and Buena Vista kind of area. But
okay.
that's a yeah, we're looking for a rhodochrosite, and that's a really beautiful
Hmm.
mineral that's got this pink color for those of you that know it. So that there's supposed to be rhodochrosite up there, and there's also supposed to be lapis up there, which is that beautiful blue
Ooh,
mineral.
yes.
And so we're looking for those two specifically. So yeah, we're definitely really excited. And even if we don't find a lot, we'll definitely find a lot of quartz, some maybe a little bit of amethyst, and if not, we'll just go hiking and we'll say we climbed a 14er when we get to Mount Antero. So that's
Nice.
also
Yeah,
something to be excited about.
that's awesome.
Any other plans for you once this is done?
I don't think so, really. Camping. Camping.
Camping.
Ooh,
Yep. Yep.
camping.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, as you noted too, last summer, I wasn't here. I had to go off and deal with some personal stuff. So I was gone for 5 months. Missed the entire summer. So best time of the year to go biking. I
Right.
can't wait to go biking as well. Something that I really want to try if the boat can be up and running by the time that this happens, maybe August, is doing a boating, biking, camping trip
Ooh.
to where we go and
Very
we
nice.
take the boat off to somewhere that's on the other side of the lake or somewhere that's a little bit harder to get to by a vehicle, um, and then anchor the boat, go out for a ride, camp on the
Nice.
boat or camp just on shore, that
Yep.
type of thing, and then be able to ride the bikes, play on the lake, camp,
Right.
kind of just get outside.
That's awesome. That is a super good plan. Yeah. So
Well,
a lot to look forward to in the podcast. Right now, our plan is to release twice a week. We're going to try to come up with a more definitive schedule as we develop the podcast, and we're obviously looking for constructive feedback. And we also have a Twitter account. You can find us
tweet, tweet.
at release the ADV. That's again at release the ADV. So yeah, there's a lot more to come. Everything from camping to kite flying to mountain biking to fishing, boating, rock hounding, everything that you can think of about going out adventures, being a hobbyist. Just so much to come. And yeah, we look forward to hearing from you guys and having you guys be a part of our journey and listening. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed your stay. I know I had fun.
Absolutely, I
Yeah,
had a great time too. And this was Brad and Sean in the
afternoon.
afternoon.
All right,
Thank you
guys, you
guys for
guys take
coming,
care.
and hope to hear from you soon.
Yep, stay safe, everybody. Bye.